welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV, where we will be predicting the starting lineup and bench for tomorrow's game against West Ham at St James's Park, 12:30, just after noon kickoff, live on Sky Sports. We will be here in Keg's setup. Big Renty is back from Dubai. He's back now, so we will be together for the first time almost this year, I think since January, in his little Ken. So come back then to find out who is in the starting lineup, as we will run through it at the start of the watch along. But first, I want to talk about West Ham's team news. A couple of big stories there. The main one is Declan Rice is out, who's been the captain pretty much all season in the absence of Mark Noble, and Mikel Antonio, a big goal getter for West Ham. Both of them are out. So that's fantastic news for us. And a couple of doubts as well, which could be really good news as well. Aaron Cresswell, the left back, who's been amazing this season. Big fan of him. Big, strong centre back in Ogbonna, also a doubt. Playmakers up front, Lanzini and Yarmolenko are also doubts. Backup goalkeeper Darren Randolph as well, but nobody really cares about him. So if we've got Rice, Antonio, Cresswell, Ogbonna, Lanzini and Yarmolenko all out, we'll still probably get beat. On the Newcastle front, though, we'll start with Jamal Lascelles. Last week it was announced that he might be out for the season. He had a fracture on his foot, a supposed fracture. He was going for scans. Brucey hasn't really confirmed anything. All he really said is that Jamal Lascelles himself has not ruled him out for the season. Lascelles is really, really frustrated to be in the situation that he's in this run-up, like the relegation run-up towards the end of the season. He's the captain, pivotal part of this defence. He's in a boot. He's in one of them space boot things, so there's no time frame on the injury. Brucey hasn't really confirmed anything. He hasn't really said what the scan said. All he's really said is that Lascelles himself has not ruled himself out of the season. So obviously he's a determined player. He'll want to come back as the captain. He'll want to get back into the team before the end of the season to help us in this run-up. And Fabian Schär as well is making good progress and doing very, very well. He's been pictured back in training this week. He was one that was expected to be out for the rest of the season. Him himself had a target to come back for the Euros. He wants to represent Switzerland in the summer. Hayden's out for the season. So, while a bit lacking, we're relying on these three main players, really, Fernandez, Clark and Dummett, to say we're out for the rest of the season. So hopefully Schär can be back by the end of the year if Lascelles isn't. Ryan Fraser, unfortunately, isn't fit again. Bruce says he picked up a groin problem on international duty, which is really unfortunate. I feel sorry for Ryan Fraser because he's just had spells that he came into the team unfit, hadn't played for quite a while at the back end of last season with Bournemouth. He came in, struggled for fitness. He was just getting little cameos, just little sub appearances, just to try and get them going. Had a great international break. He was starting to hit some form, then got an injury, and then that was COVID. And then again started to hit form, got another injury, and then again it just happened just about a month or so ago from February onwards. Starting to hit some really good form. I think January as well had a couple of really good games. Just starting to get into it. Got a great assist in, which game was it? It wasn't Villa, it was Wolves maybe. One of the 1-1 draws that we had. A great assist, which Lascelles scored. Picking up some form. Went into the international break. Great confidence. Scored a few goals. Absolutely been best form he's been in for a couple of years. Injury. Typical. I feel sorry for Fraser because when he's playing and when he is in form, he's a great player and I think we really, really need him. But it's not to be, so he's going to miss another week. Hopefully he can be back soon. Touch on Federico Fernandez. Brucey's praised him. He just came back from quite a long time out. He had injuries right up until the international break. I think he just came back. Was it the Brighton game? I think it was an unused sub. Came back from international break and picked up a little injury that kept him out of the Tottenham game. But he came back against Burnley and it was absolutely fantastic. It was great to see him back. And the big one, the big decision to make. Brucey says Alan Saint-Maximin and Callum Wilson, who both came back last week, sub-appearances. Well, actually, Saint-Maximin played about 20 minutes against Tottenham. But Saint-Maximin and Wilson got about half an hour against Burnley last week. Great to see them back. Bruce says they've trained all well and they're okay. They're good to go, but a decision will be made as it's a muscle injury. You don't want to tamper with muscle injuries. That's why it was a little bit surprising if you watched my lineup prediction for the Burnley game last week. I had them both in to start just because you wanted to. Saint-Maximin especially, I thought Saint-Maximin would after his 20-minute run out against Tottenham the week before. Wilson, maybe not yet, but I half-heartedly kind of did expect them to be in the starting lineup, but it wasn't to be. They've had another week out. They've had half an hour on the field at Turf Moor. I just really, really hope that they are fit. They are ready to go, as Bruce says. They're okay. They've trained well all week. I want them to play. I want them to start. But who will start? We're going to get into the starting lineup now. And in goal, of course, Martin Dubravka made a couple of great saves in the Burnley game last week. Enough said about that. We know Caldalo's not going to replace him now until the end of the season unless an injury occurs. So into the back line, and going to start with the back three, playing a 5-2-3 formation as we have done for the last few weeks. Fernandes, Clark and Dunnett, I said it before, they're the only ones that we've got left, apart from maybe Kraft, who deserved dropped really. His last few performances before then weren't that good, but with Fernandes and Clark being injured, he had to come in. But yeah, they're back now. As long as they're fighting fit, then that's the back three. Simple as that. And I think the wing backs are automatic as well. Jacob Murphy and Matt Ritchie. Great performances since they got thrown in. I think the Tottenham game, I don't really think we're kind of half expected to go 5 at the back, but I think we were still kind of hoping that maybe 4-3-3. Like, we hate seeing 5 at the back. I do anyway. If you watch if you watch the channel, you watch these videos, you know I'm not a fan of the 5 at the back, but sometimes it works. Rafa got it working. Sometimes under Brucey it does work. A lot of the time it doesn't, but so far, since changing back, we've been unbeaten. 2 games in a row, a draw and a win. It's been all right. And Ritchie, Murphy especially, have been absolutely great. Ritchie is like a leader without Lascelles. He's very vocal, fantastic player, gets crosses in, none more so than Jacob Murphy. Jacob Murphy was absolutely outstanding the last couple of games. And the midfield, unfortunately, this will remain unchanged as well. John Joe Shelvey and Sean Longstaff. I would like to see Joe Willock be brought in. In fact, I would like to see Matty Longstaff brought in as well, to be honest, but we know that's not going to happen. I think Joe Willock's the more realistic one. Even Jeff Hendrick's a more realistic one than Matty Longstaff. But I think the way I would like to do it, I would like to see, I know Shelvey's going to stay in there because he is the captain. Richie's got the captain leadership skills, but Shelvey gets the armband. Even Fernandes, to be fair, rather. Fernandes have had the armband than Shelvey, but Shelvey gets it. He's one of Brucey's favourite players, and he is a good player on his day when he can be asked when he wants to. So in the absence of Isaac Hayden, Shelvey starts. Simple as that. Wash your hands with that one. But it's who plays alongside him. And yeah, I would definitely rather have Joe Willock in myself. But Sean Longstaff, he's played the last 2 games, and he's had moments. In the first half against Tottenham, he was great. I think the other one as well, Burnley, decent enough performance. He's done well getting back, causing a bit of threat going forward, some decent passes, but second half, not great. First half's fantastic. Really, really good first halves, especially against Tottenham. But I don't know. It's just still not there. He's still not the complete player that we wish that he was, what he was a couple of years ago when Rafa Benitez brought him through. He's still very, very frustrating. And to play alongside John Joe Shelvey, who's also very frustrating, it's just not a good matchup, I don't think. But as I said before, the last 2 games, while we've been playing like this, we are unbeaten. Good win, good draw against Tottenham. Felt like a win. Decent result against Burnley. It was a game changer when Sir Maximin come on, like almost pretty much won the game himself. But, you know, we'll stick with it. Like, we'll have won 2 games unbeaten. Just let Brucey say it out. Just let Sean Longstaff play. See how it goes. And we've got the options on the bench in Hendrick, Willock, and Matty Longstaff later on as well. In the front 3 then, and I will be starting with Miggy Almiron. Last week, I had him in my lineup prediction to be dropped, and with Joe Linton to play with Sir Maximin on the other side. That was my prediction, which obviously didn't occur. It was Almiron, Joe Linton, and Dwight Gale as the front 3. But Almiron's performances, the work rate's been there. It's just the end product has been lacking in the last few games. Like, since he came back from his injury, he had about a good 6 weeks out after the injury I think he picked up, was it the Southampton game? He came back just before the international break, somewhat rushed in, did nothing in the Brighton game because he was quite clearly not ready to play, had the international break. Tottenham had moments, Burnley had moments, but just nothing startling for me. That's why I said that he would be dropped for the Burnley game, but he wasn't, and had an okay game. But I think he'll be brought in now. It was Joe Linton who I will be dropping to the bench this week, as he didn't really do anything. He probably had the best game of his career, maybe he's a bit far, in a Newcastle shirt especially. Really good game against Tottenham. We're expecting a little bit of more of the same at Burnley, and we just didn't really see it. And with the others going forward, we're going to have St. Maximin on the other side. If he's fit, which he should be, 20 minutes against Tottenham, half an hour against Burnley, changed both games. We were losing in both games until St. Maximin came on, and we're getting 4 points out of it. So if he's fit, and only if he's fit, he's got to start. I said this last week. He's got to start. He really has. Like, West Ham are a tricky, tricky team. Jesse Lingard in the form of his life. They can get goals. I'm just hoping that the likes of Yarmolenko and Lanzini are out. Cresswell and Ogbonna as well. Get at the defence if it's a bit makeshift. I'm missing Declan Rice, who's a big player. Miguel Antonio, who's a big player. So I feel like we need to play our big players. And yeah, it's all well and good having an impact late on, which Joe Willock did against Tottenham, and St. Maximin has the last couple of games. But I say we were losing them games up until he came on. If we just start them, then we'll not need to be in that situation. We'll not need to make a super sub and come back from a losing position. So I want St. Maximin to start. I'm more than happy for Almiron to start. Whether it's him or Joelinton, we'll see. I think Almiron's definitely the better of the players with his pace, effort, energy, work rate, all of that. He's got a starting place for me. So they're my outside players with, drum roll please, Callum Wilson. Hopefully, he's the one that, again, same as last week, you're not too sure on. We might see Dwight Gale there. We might see Joelinton there. I'm pretty confident St. Maximin can start. It is just Callum Wilson. He didn't really get involved in the Burnley game as much as we would have liked him to. Like, St. Maximin made all the difference. He got his goal and set Jacob Murphy up for the other. But yeah, you do just want Callum Wilson to get some chances, and we just didn't really offer him to him. So I still just don't know if he's that match fit yet. So we might have to wait another week to see Callum Wilson from the starting lineup. And you know what it is? I'd rather have Joelinton there than Dwight Gale. I just really just don't think Dwight Gale offers that much. Joelinton's work rate over the past few weeks has been amazing. So if we do have a front three of Almiron, St. Maximin, Joelinton, you know, I'd be happy enough to see that as long as Callum Wilson can, again, get another 30 minutes at the end. But only time will tell. But that's my prediction. A little bit hopeful. That's definitely what I'm more hoping for than maybe what I think will. But it should do. If they're fit, if they're okay, as Brucey says they are, they've got to start the pair of them. We'll have a look at my bench, and I've got Carl Darlow, Javier Manquillo, Emil Kraft, Jamal Lewis, who can't get a game at the minute because of Matt Ritchie's performances. The midfield three, as I mentioned, Jeff Hendrick, Matty Longstaff, Joe Willock, and the front two of Joelinton and Dwight Gale, pending on Andy Carroll's fitness. I don't really know where Andy Carroll is. He was ruled out last week. Brucey didn't mention him in the press conference, so I can only assume that he's injured for another week, in which Matty Longstaff gets us another spot on the bench. There's my lineup there then, guys. Make sure you put yours in the comments below along with the score prediction. I don't really want to give one because I'm not overly optimistic. I'm just hoping for them injuries. I'm just hoping that those doubters turn into confirmations. I don't want them to play. I hope Jesse Lingard isn't fucking moonwalking all up and down St. James's Park. I can't be asked to be saying that shit. But I don't know. I'll be happy for a draw. Any of the next 5 games. This is the start of a run of really tough 5 games. So if we can get a draw against any one of them, pick up a couple of points before the last 2 games against Sheffield and Fulham, get 2-3 points at most, maybe out of the next 5 games, I think that'll be satisfactory and could see us stay up. So hoping for a draw, maybe another 2-2 like the Tottenham game, but as long as we can get a point on the board, I'll be happy with it. So let me know what you guys think and make sure to come back for the watch along tomorrow afternoon, 12:30 kickoff. See you there and enjoy yourself.